This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who's pleasantly surprised we've gotten three really good NFL playoff games right out of the gate.
hmm
He'll sympathize with you if you're a Jaguars, Panthers, or Packers fan, but if you're a Bears, Rams, or I don't remember who else. So the only other game, the Bills.
Oh yeah, the
Uh,
Bills.
yeah, he's not going to be cool with you because Alex Bregman's gone. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. We're still here. How are you?
Certainly not sympathizing with Bears fans. Hey, you know what? If you want to pay Alex Bregman $35 million until his late 30s, go ahead. But yeah, not the best lead up as a Red Sox fan so far.
Yeah, it's the same people who want to, I don't know if there's a crossover, but the people in Columbus who want to pay Nate Frazier to come to Ohio State.
I mean, Nate
Uh,
Frazier's a hell of a player. I'm not sure that's going to fix much for Ohio State.
I mean, Columbus is the Compton of Ohio, right?
Yeah, 100%. No doubt.
And and before we begin, be sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, give this thing a 5-star review because we need it like oxygen and water and antibacterial soap.
Hand sanitizer, baby. Let's go.
And on that note, let's get rolling with our first and 15 today with some talk portal to me. The latest makings and shakings of the portal. A lot of stuff's happening today, Basil. Anywhere you want to start, or you want me to kind of go through what 247's got?
No, you go ahead and start because my mind's been occupied with Bregman and the NFL playoffs, so I'm sure there's a lot I've missed in the portal if I'm being completely honest.
That's cool. I'll try to get us all caught up to speed here. Going to hit refresh here at 5:24 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, whatever the hell day it is. Going to go through like guys who are in the portal or people who've committed at this point in the top
Yeah.
50. So Cam Coleman is now going to Texas. People in Alabama and A&M are feeling really bad about that. Another Coleman, Chaz, is going from Penn State to Tennessee to hook up with Jim Knowles again because that worked out last time.
Right.
That's in your top 10. We did touch on Lagway going to Baylor. We've touched on that before.
Mhm.
Dylan Raiola is crystal balled to Oregon because, of course, he is.
Of course he is. And if you want to know my thoughts, go check out our latest short. That's my thoughts on that.
A guy going from one school to another is Reed Harris going from Boston College to Arizona State. He's good. We'll see. I think that might actually be a pretty good pickup there for the Sun Devils.
100%. Yeah. I trust Kenny Dillingham blindly. So yeah.
And Deuce Knight is deucing out on Auburn. He's going to Ole Miss. I think he's going to replace Trinidad Chambliss there in Oxford.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's
Yeah,
really smart on that staff's part.
100%. Lance Hurd, giant dude, 6'6", 330 offensive tackles going from Tennessee to the other side of that rivalry in Kentucky. Pretty good get there for Will Stein and everything like that.
Yeah, that's beef meat, baby.
That
That is
is
beef meat.
that guy is just line meat factory. Georgia got a guy. Isaiah Canyon's coming from Georgia Tech to go play at Georgia. We might have touched on that in the previous show, but I think Rayshawn Dinkins and another guy on the team were high school teammates with him and Warner Robbins, so this was kind of inevitable.
Didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, and you know, no offense to Georgia Tech, but they're not exactly running a pass-friendly offense there. Even it's not the triple option anymore, but it's still not pass-friendly.
No, and speaking of Georgia Tech, a guy who's going to go play for somebody. He might have played at Georgia Tech at one point, but he's playing for Buster Faulkner now and again. Eric Singleton Jr. is going from Auburn to Florida.
hmm
Scares me.
He's a hell of a football player.
Uh, Luke Reynolds is trending towards Virginia Tech from Penn State. Just get a look at this guy's picture when you see it. He's like if Paul Posluszny had a Leif Garrett hair.
And like 30 less pounds. Dude looks like a child.
Yeah, he's going to be great. Amarius Williams going from Auburn to Georgia. That's a huge get for Georgia. I don't know if you can see through his picture, but hopefully he can get off the pass there.
He just knows he needs to get after the quarterback. He knows where the quarterback is. That's all that matters.
And Hollywood Smothers is not going to go from NC State to Alabama. He's going to Texas, baby, because hook him, I guess. I can't believe I did that.
I mean, it's either hook 'em or roll tide, neither of which feel good for you. So,
No, no, they don't. Pretty good day in the portal there for Steve Sarkisian and the boys there. Ty Benefield going from Boise State to LSU at safety. They got to get guys in the defensive backfield at LSU in the portal because that's where we're at this stage of life.
Well, I mean, it's Lane Kiffin, baby.
Yeah, he didn't care. um, Jacarius Peak, offensive tackle, going from NC State to South Carolina. They're getting better in the trenches. Maybe South Carolina will bounce back.
Thank God. Someone protect Lenore Sellers, please, God.
Uh, Xavier Gillum going from Penn State to Tennessee. Again, another guy following Jim Knowles there, hoping for better things.
Hmm.
Let's see what else. We talked about John. You talked about cousin John Tez already. We talked about Austin Simmons. Ethan Guggenmeyer looking like he's going to go from Penn State to Virginia Tech. Guggenmeyer with Hokie Stone. That's going to be something.
James Franklin, baby, the Virginia Tech Nittany Lions.
A guy whose name I can't pronounce is going from Illinois to South Carolina, but he's good.
I'm gonna give it a try. I think that might be Tamiwa Durojaye.
Yes,
That's as
that's
close as we're gonna get.
yeah.
I didn't butcher it. I may not
No,
got it right, but I didn't butcher it.
and then Eugene Wilson the third. Trey Wilson's going from Florida to LSU.
Hmm.
That's kind of what that is. There's been a few other things that are happening in and around the portal, stuff that has nothing to do with the portal, apparently, like Ohio State trying to get Nate Frazier. Please don't.
Yeah, I mean that tampering is still abound. The one class portal class right now that I think intrigues me the most is what Will Stein's doing at Kentucky. I think he's doing a really nice job in the portal right now, man. I understand you lost Cutter Boley, which not obviously ideal, but getting some line meat in there with Lance Hurd, CJ Baxter, former five-star running back at Texas, whose career has just been marred by injuries, but at this point. He's going to Kentucky as well. I know he's not a top 50 guy anymore, but like this was supposed to be one of the best running backs in the country, and like injuries have robbed him of that. But like I think Will Stein's doing a really good job of I don't know if leveling up is the right term, but definitely getting Kentucky on a much better track than they were on.
They also were able to get Kenny Minchey, the former Notre Dame
Yeah.
backup, who was committed to Nebraska for one day, like Jade Maeva to Georgia. That could work for Kentucky, or that could be Brock Vandagriff 2.0. I'm not really sure.
I mean, I think it's probably better than Brock Vandagriff. I don't know how well it's going to work, but like I think it's a good get. And like if you're Will Stein, like that's the thing about Will Stein is like I understand his stock is a little low right now coming out of the CFP semifinals, but at the same time, he is a really good offensive mind, and like I think he's not going to put a quarterback in a position to where like they can't do something. Like he's not going to ask a quarterback to do something they're not capable of.
No, like it'll work out, everything like that. I mean, I wonder if Will Stein should have paid more attention at Oregon, but like he's got something to build there in Lexington for sure.
100%. But yeah, I mean that's just one of like to me when I look at these classes that are being built, like that's one that stands out to me just because Kentucky was they were such a tough watch last year. Like
Yeah.
they were they weren't like abysmal by any stretch of the imagination, but they like it didn't seem like it was working at all. And like there's a reason they went with the coaching change that they did. And like it seems like Will Stein is really trying to jumpstart some institutional change, which I think matters.
Yeah, under Mark Stoops in the end, he denied that he broke his lawnmower and he was out there cutting grass with safety scissors.
100%.
I remember it sticks on my head daily. It's John from Garfield cutting his grass.
Yeah. Gotta make sure it's even, man.
Hell yeah, you got to make sure it's even. A team that needed a big get in the transfer portal. Michigan was getting crushed. They got their third guy. They got first off, they got John Henry Daly, who looks like he's 40, coming and following Kyle Whittingham from Salt Lake. So that's
Hmm.
good.
Yeah,
But
100%.
but they also got a guy to commit who's a five-star coming out, who I don't think has ever seen snow before, and Jaime French Jr.
Yeah, snow games in the big house might be a bit of a culture shock. Ann Arbor as a whole might be a culture shock for him, but good player for sure.
Yeah, he only played like in 4 games for Texas. He went to Mandarin High School in Jacksonville. That's the alma mater of Carson Peck.
Oh, okay. I didn't. You know way more about high schools and alma maters than I do. I ever will, quite frankly.
No, when I'm in high school, I'm there. That's all I did.
That's right.
I don't know if we would have been friends in high school, I don't, maybe not. I don't know, maybe
Hey,
possibly.
hey, we're friends now. That's all that
Yeah,
matters,
that's
brother.
that's all that matters. We intersected at this point. I guess the biggest name in the portal right now is probably maybe we should just move on to the next topic here.
Yeah, I think that if we're talking about the biggest name, we got to move on.
Because it don't mean enough. Lane Kiffin may or may not have shown up to Knoxville's airport to try to court Sam Leavitt, who's still in the portal because cousin Demond Williams can't come because of something called a contract law.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's not an expert in contract law.
or restraining orders for that matter. Try to think of like the one place on earth where like you're not welcome and he went there.
The airport?
Not the city of Knoxville,
It's
Tennessee.
true. It's true. Yeah. No, I mean it's a full circle moment. It's an airport and it's in Knoxville, Tennessee. Like that's the Lane Kiffin coaching story in a nutshell.
So he's not. So I try to make sure I got this absolutely correct here with Sam Leavitt. He's like looking at five schools. I believe that Kentucky's kind of been crossed off, and then
Hmm.
Texas Tech have been crossed off with Minchie and Sorsby committing.
Right. Yeah.
Then you're looking at Oregon on the fringe, Tennessee, and then LSU is kind of the big players at this time. Am I missing
Right.
anybody else?
Not that I've heard of anytime recently. Like there were fits we talked about previously. Like I thought that Nebraska could have made some sense. Miami, obviously.
Yeah,
I I'll say this again. I'll keep saying it until they land a quarterback, but like Miami is a player for a quarterback until they land whoever they want to land.
that sounds about right here. Because Kentucky's got Kenny Minchie, so that's been
Yeah.
backfilled as well. LSU, like Michael Van Buren Jr., I believe is on his way to South Florida, I think.
I think that's right. That sounds right. I can look
He's
real quick.
they got some whatever. He left. He ain't coming back.
That's right. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, Lane Kiffin's coming. We'll see you."
So the Oregon part of it all, they're trying to figure out if Dante Moore is like gonna turn pro or not. With how poor he looked at the Peach Bowl, maybe he needs to come back.
It's definitely, it wouldn't be the worst idea I've ever heard.
And then with Tennessee, I think Joey Aguilar tried to like get a waiver for another year of eligibility. And the way that it's kind of gone this offseason, it's not working out. Trinidad Chambliss got denied, looking
Mhm.
like he's going to be there. So there's a fit there in Tennessee. But the problem is, if you're Sam Leavitt, do you want to play in the most gimmicky offense in college football, or do you want to play for a pro style system with Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, 100%. You want to play with a guy who just had a quarterback drafted in the first round last year in last year's draft with Jackson Dart and who was starting in his rookie year and looked pretty damn good. So like I think, that's probably the more attractive option in between those two.
100%. And I will say, whoever gets them between those two SEC schools, they become an immediate contender to get to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
I don't think they're on the same level of Georgia or Texas next year, but
No.
they're in that realm with A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss. They're right
Or
there.
100%. It's going to be, I mean, it's going to be the battle that we saw this year between like Alabama, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. Like that level,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, like you're certainly in the playoff mix. You can win 9+ games. We'll see what happens.
100%.
But did Lane Kiffin actually go to the airport?
I don't know. I don't know if he did, but I mean, would you rule it out? Like that's the
No.
thing. Like we've reached the Lane Kiffin. We need to actually create this. I think this would be a great, side project for Fall Start. The Lane Kiffin scale of believability, and it's kind of like the F around and find out scale. And like, there's not many levels where it's not believable. There's certain levels. This is definitely in the believability scale. Like we're firmly on that line.
We need that. It's the Lane Kiffin scale of reality.
Yeah, and reality is a construct.
And you fade in and out of reality when you're sweating out every pore and every orifice in your hot yoga.
And criticizing the playlist, apparently.
100. Does he really? Like,
So there was a whole like thing in the wake of Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss on like TikTok and Instagram of all the hot yoga instructors in Oxford, basically like calling him out for things that he would do there. And like, I'll, honestly, a lot of it was just funny. And one of the funniest ones was that he would like come in and just like complain about the playlist.
if I got to listen to Olivia Rodrigo one more time.
I've had my driver's license for quite a while. Thanks.
um, so the new season of Traders is out. If you haven't heard about that yet,
I've never seen a season. I've heard it's been recommended to me very highly as I am like because I'm a big Survivor fan and I've been told that Traders is if I'm a Survivor fan, I will enjoy Traders. I haven't watched any of it.
the most recent American season, it's season 4, and it's all celebrities, which I think they're now finally doing regular people, and the Arizona State podcast applied to be on it.
Oh,
She
that dope. That's
she
dope.
wants to be a trader,
Hell
and
yeah.
kill him with cuteness, I guess, is probably the way to do it. Uh, but the equivalent of Lane Kiffin and Traders is on the show now, and that's Michael Rappaport.
Oh my God.
And it's going exactly as you think it would.
Yeah, there's not much left to the imagination.
They try to go to a secret armory and he forgets to close the door. He's just the stupidest New Yorker of all time. It's great.
And with the implication when you say stupidest New Yorker is that he's dumb as hell, but he thinks he's the smartest man in the world.
Yes. He didn't know that like a trader can get a shield. Like everybody can get a shield. And everyone's like, you were either the worst trader of all time or the worst faithful.
Have you ever played the board game I don't know if we can actually say this word on YouTube, but secret and then the other word is a dictator who happened to rule in Germany during World War II.
Okay, I've not heard of that, but that's okay.
Okay,
Uh,
so it's one of those games where like someone is like the secret, like the bad guy, and like you have that card, but you can't reveal that to anyone. At one point in my life, we were playing this game, and I kept like doing all the motions through the game and stuff like that. I had forgotten that I was actually the one who was holding the secret. And so like I completely forgot and we went like each round in this game only is supposed to last like 10 to 15 minutes. We've been going on for like 25 minutes and everyone's looking around like who the hell is it? Like we have no idea. And it was me the entire time because I forgot. And like that's Michael Rappaport, that's Lane Kiffin. They forgot that they're the traitor. They forgot they're the bad guy in this game.
uh, he's probably been in a movie with Alan Cumming, the host, at some point.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my God. They're in that Bond movie, right?
I don't think Michael Rappaport has the acting chops to be in a James Bond movie.
Or I don't think he can play a Russian hacker either to be struggling.
Hey, they're at the computer.
I was talking to the Arista of the State podcast. I'm like, we all went to a high school like a guy like this. We don't have to say their name. It's where like they're always just trying to figure stuff out in the lunchroom, and they're always getting in trouble. They're almost always in detention, and it's not even their fault. They're just a lightning rod for controversy.
That's right. I mean, it's just, every high school class has a bumbling idiot who doesn't realize they're the bumbling idiot.
Man, that doesn't mean like Lane Kiffin is that either, but imagine him on Traders. He would just be like
He'd,
also there's a
he'd be
go
like
ahead.
Boston Rob. Like that's who he is. That's the exact same vibe.
Dude, Boston Rob just that season he went exactly like Boston Rob. And it was
Yeah, I
he,
mean,
he treats everyone like a threat, like he's Remus Remus Williams Rice.
100%. Everyone is a threat.
Everything can kill you at the exact same time. Also, there's a non-zero chance that Sam Leavitt knows who James Bond is.
Oh, yeah, he could not. He might think it's Batman, like it's just a code name.
Also, just looking at him in his profile picture, that guy could be like he could have roomed with Derek Zoolander.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orange mocha frappuccinos all around for Lake Kiffin and Sam Levitt.
And he's not exactly going to the bastion of academia with any of his places he's played at.
No, I mean he's coming from Arizona State. No offense to
Mi-
the Arizona State podcast.
Michigan State, I mean, Tennessee, LSU. Like, there's smart people at every school, but I'm like, this isn't like Fernando Mendoza going from Yale to Cal to Indiana.
100%. Yeah, it's not that. I mean, then I don't think Sam Levitt's going to be giving us lectures on stoicism like Fernando Mendoza was.
How old do you think he was when we learned how to spell his last name?
I don't know if he can. That's the thing.
You got all the I's and L's coming together, man. It's hard, dude.
TBD is my answer. TBD.
All right, TBD. And speaking of TBD, let's move on to our next topic with playoffs. You kidding me?
Yes, sir.
Our last little lingering thoughts from the semifinals, maybe a slight look ahead to the national championship coming up on MLK Day. I promised you guys the starters in Cody's most recent YouTube short. I have a take on Oregon for the ages.
Oh, he absolutely does.
I'm gonna let this sit. Make sure I've been rehearsing this. I don't know if I'm gonna get it right, but look, you should go first because I'm the intro host and you're the guy who gets us off with a bang, keeps us on topic, sort of.
Yeah, so I mean, and in case you haven't seen the short, and like the more I keep thinking about it, and especially with the Raiola news with Oregon, like they've got to do something to like change up the formula. They're running back the exact same formula with Raiola, with the transfer portal quarterback, someone who's not homegrown, and like it's immensely frustrating to watch this program run with I what I think has been like I think you have a lot of the right pieces in place. I think you have a lot of the right ingredients in place to win a national championship, to be in this mix every year. But right now you need to find something to tweak to get over the hump. And you're just like it's the old adage, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, brother, you're doing the exact same thing over and over again. I don't care how talented Dylan Raiola is. And like you and I, we have Dylan Raiola is his own bag of worms, and I'm well aware of that. But like he is a very talented football player. He's a very talented quarterback. I don't think it's going to change a damn thing for Oregon because they need a DNA structural change to actually make something happen, in my opinion.
You got to have some guy with grit, with some lower intestinal fortitude to navigate. When the bullets are flying everywhere. Because
Hmm.
if you want to win national championships, you gotta siege. You gotta go across no man's land. There's barbed wires and all sorts of stuff. There's just all you gotta just go, man. And but you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid if your backup 17th jersey gets mud on it.
No, 100%. And like I was thinking more about this because one thing I didn't mention when talking about the portal QBs is like I think Bo Nix. I have many problems with Bo Nix that are well documented on this show and on the written word and fansided.com. Like Bo Nix is not my cup of tea. But in terms of the intestinal fortitude, in terms of toughness, Bo Nix has that. But
Mhm.
that roster wasn't at the level that it is now in terms of
No,
talent.
no. If Bo Nix was playing there for Oregon now, they would have won the national title. He would have won the
Exactly.
Heisman.
100%.
Dylan Gabriel wasn't as talented, but Dylan Gabriel was like 5'10" and a half,
Yeah, I mean,
left-handed.
limitations.
Yeah, Bo Nix has he got the first NIL deal of all time.
That's
Milo Sweet Tea. All right, I'm gonna get my Oregon take, and maybe we can talk about some other teams here. I'm gonna get this going because I want to clip this.
100%. Let's do it, baby.
You made a very salient point in that a lot of the issues that are plaguing Oregon on offense is they constantly go with the transfer portal quarterback route, and that's been hurting them since the Dan Lanning era. I think there's something deeper, and I think it's been plaguing them since Chip Kelly took over, and it's on the other side of the ball.
Okay, hit me with it.
I came across a social media clip this morning, and it showed all of the really good, could have maybe won a national championship Oregon teams dating back to 2010. We're talking like the team that lost to Cam Newton and Auburn in the
Mhm.
Fiesta Bowl. We're talking the 23 team that lost to Washington in the Pac-12 championship, that really good Justin Herbert team that lost to Arizona State for some reason.
Yeah.
On every single one of those clips, there's a play where these defensive backs are getting beat over the top.
Hmm.
Every single one. And there's always some big explosive play that they allow. Look, we touched on this that Oregon has to recruit people that are impressionable because that's how they develop their identity. Again, Oregon has less than 5 million people in state. They don't have the most robust history. They have to go in this direction. But I think when you go and you attract players like this, are you really practicing as hard as you claim you are?
Hmm.
And the whole iron sharpens iron. And there's other teams that we think are impressionable. There's two in the SEC that we always talk about in Tennessee and Texas A&M,
Yeah.
but they're not getting carved up in the defensive backfield. You know why? Because they got to play Georgia, Alabama, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss every week at SEC play. They can't get embarrassed like that. I think there's an issue with Oregon with the type of players they get in the defensive backfield. They're going up against maybe one team like that a year. And the old Pac-12 and the new Big Ten now. Maybe you have Ohio State on your schedule. Maybe you play in Indiana like this. Maybe Michigan or USC has its stuff together. And this is where the Oregonian hubris comes in. You think that you're like, oh, yeah, we're good. We're not going to have to worry about whatever's on film. Whereas like Signetti and other coaches like, yeah, that's going to be a problem for us. We have to put in the work.
No, 100%. And I'm glad you brought up the hubris point because that's all I was thinking about this entire time is because, yeah, you have to put in the work. And whether or not they're putting in the, like you said, like the necessary work and practice that should be being put in, like whether or not that's happening or not, Dan Lanning's coaching like it was put in. And
Mhm.
he's coaching like he wants to be ultra aggressive for 60 minutes. And like on one hand, I respect that mentality, but at the same time, his mentors, when you look at Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, they also knew when to take their foot off the gas, when it was smart to do so, when it was the right decision to put your team in the best position to win. They knew when to do that. I think that like if I want to look at one problem Dan Lanning has, it's that hubris and not really knowing like when to throw a change up. He's just out there like Nolan Ryan throwing 100 every single pitch.
And that's why Nolan Ryan's not a top 50 baseball player all time.
Look,
It's
the
just
the the olds on TikTok will argue with you about that, but it's correct.
you and I both know that Greg Maddux and Pedro Martinez are better pitchers than him.
100%. So I said that because I did a TikTok. It's probably been a month or so ago now, and I put five elite pitchers of all time, and it was a graphic that had been going around on social media. I think on Twitter. I think it was where I first saw it, but it was Pedro, Clemens, Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, and Nolan Ryan. And I said, it was pretty simple. Cut one, keep four. Who are you cutting? And like to me, you're cutting Nolan Ryan every single
Yeah.
time out of those four pitchers. Like if you want to cut Clemens because of the steroids, fine. I don't really care about like steroids. I know you and I differ on that. I don't give a shit. Like it doesn't bother me at all. Everyone was juiced up then, whatever. But at the same time, like Nolan Ryan's greatest achievement in baseball is longevity. He pitched for 3 decades. It's impressive that he was able to do that at such a high level. He also had like when you look at those five pitchers, there's 17, I think it's 17 Cy Youngs in that picture. And you take Nolan Ryan out, and there's still 17 Cy Youngs.
Yeah, I think I'll take Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax at their peak over them every single time.
Mhm.
I'll tell you this. Nolan Ryan is essentially Burt Blyleven from Texas.
Correct. Correct.
But anyway, you mentioned
Sorry,
the
I
Dan.
didn't mean to derail us
No,
there.
no, it's cool. Maybe you can actually clip this here. I don't know. So you talk about Dan Lanning's two biggest mentors. He talked about this when talking with Olivia Whitmire of Fox 5 ahead of the Peach Bowl, saying like, yeah, I really value my time being in Athens and Tuscaloosa because I got to learn from, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. You know what other branch he stems from, right? It's the Todd Graham branch, which also gives us Mike Norvell. So he has that in him too. Don't forget that.
And I think we see a little too much of that, unfortunately.
uh, 100%. So rather than not, any other thing you got with Miami, Ole Miss, Indiana, if any other last thoughts about them before we kind of move on to the second half of our show?
Yeah, so I do want to talk about Indiana again real quick. And I probably have some other lingering thoughts I can throw in there, not as detailed as this, but I mentioned, I offhandedly mentioned Fernando Mendoza talking about stoicism. And like it's funny just because we have a court like just seeing the different quarterbacks. Like we have Carson Breck, who I'm not sure has a single brain cell like operating up there other than like throw balls to Malachi Tony. Like that's all he has going on. But you have Fernando Mendoza who's going out there and delivering a monologue. But I think that what he said in that monologue, talking about the idea of delayed gratification, and like I think that you see that with Coach Sig and you see it permeate down throughout the rest of the roster. Like they accomplish these things and it's not enough. Like they're like they know they have a singular goal, which is to win a national championship and have a perfect season. And like, yeah, they were happy after they won in the Peach Bowl, but like they weren't like acting like they had won a national championship. They weren't acting like a program who frankly has never been here before because like they certainly haven't, but at the same time they're not operating that way. And like like we keep saying the refrain that Indiana might be the least talented team that was remaining in the semifinals of the college playoff football playoff, but like at the same time structurally, culturally, whatever word you want to not lose, whatever word you want to use, like structurally and culturally, Indiana has a secret sauce, and it is that delayed gratification. It is the idea that we have a singular goal, and the goal is the next game. And like, yeah, if they beat Miami, there's not going to be a next game, and like that's when you can finally celebrate and like let loose and have that gratification. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Coach Sig like actually let loose there, but like it's very clear like he has this curmudgeony reputation. I think it's a jobs not finished reputation. Like I think that's what it actually is.
I'll tell that to Stephen Dale.
Right, 100%.
I'll throw this, and I'll probably touch on this with the latter part of the show here. Maybe again, I was going to bring this up at some point. What is serving Indiana right now is they have not been infected by the disease of me. You and
Mhm.
I both know that's coming, and it's probably coming next year.
Yeah.
Uh, but like when you have a guy like Coach Sig, who's coaching like Bill Belichick, where you got to sacrifice. You have the perfect leader to do that. In Fernando Mendoza, is Josh Hoover going to be cut from that cloth? That's an impossible standard to be held to. I think he is, but there's going to be people who come into Indiana who would never consider them before. It's the same sort of thing where like there's a guy who got beat with an ugly stick who's a billionaire now, and he's wondering like why he's walking around with like two tens on both of his arms. Like, you like me for me, right? No, we like your money. We
Yeah,
like Mark Cuban's
100%.
money.
100%. Mark Cuban's money is much prettier than Bloomington.
I know. Maybe Ole Miss will bounce back a little bit too. I don't think they're going to crash land. I think that they're going to be about as good as what Tennessee was this year, next year.
That's a good comp. I like that a lot. And like I like again, small sample size. I like what I've seen from Pete Golding. I think he has a good finger on the pulse of what this Ole Miss team needs to do to be able to succeed. And like the reason I like the Deuce Knight transfer so much is because it gives Ole Miss a long runway. It's not like, okay, like honestly, it's different from even like a Joey Aguilar. Like you're not
Right.
bringing in someone to kind of just like raise the floor. You're bringing in someone long term. You're bringing in someone who's highly talented, was highly recruited, and like has a lot of upside. And you're bringing him in and being like, hey, let's start anew with Ole Miss post Lane Kiffin. Let's do it with a new quarterback. Let's do it with someone who can grow with this regime.
And I feel with Miami, like they're driving like in the desert and just a straight line, and they can't really do anything wrong. I don't see anybody in the ACC really catching them quite yet.
No, God, we're going to talk about the future, like by conference future of the college football playoff. And spoiler alert, when it was teams that are going to make it back,
Yeah.
where like is Miami? Like I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't know what you want to say.
And I don't know how confusing this would be to Mario Cristobal, but it's confusing to my dad and a lot of other people. Let's do some do Hast or do Hast here.
Hell yeah, Mario Cristobal would have no idea what to do with this.
No, he just walk away. He's like, nerds. I'm gonna bash.
Nerds. I speak one language, and that's football.
I speak what? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I mean, I hope he speaks too. I mean, his name is Mario Cristobal. He's Cuban. He's from Miami. Oh, I hope he's bilingual. He knows more languages than me.
That's right.
But
I don't know what happened, but I just saw AJ Brown freaking out on the sideline. Sorry, I got distracted.
that's okay. I saw a commercial with him running and talking on a treadmill, so I'm like, shouldn't he be better?
It'd
I
help
don't
if his
know.
quarterback could throw the football, but that's neither here nor there.
That's okay. He couldn't really throw the football at Alabama. This is false start. So Du Hast. Does Mario Cristobal become a top four head coach in college football with a natty win? Or is he already there? Or is he undisputed? Just kind of
Mm.
is he on the Mount Rushmore up there with the natty win?
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna I'm gonna go do Haas two S's. And let me tell you, I think my reasoning is I need to see more. And like there have been so many shortcomings from Mario Cristobal over the year that I think, at least personally for me, when I look at it, I have too much scar tissue to put him in that category yet. And to be fair, I think we should always be hesitant to do this with college football coaches. Like, yes, we realized last year that Kurt Cignetti was a really, really good head coach. We weren't putting him in the upper echelon that we are now because we were like, okay, let's see what you do the second time around. Let's see what you do like to build off of this. I need to see what Mario Cristobal does to build off of this because as impressive as all this, like as much as credit as he deserves for getting Miami to this point, and as impressive as it has been to get to this point, we've not seen it before, and we don't know if we'll see it again. And until we see it again, like when you think about the actual greats, great coaches in college football, when you talk about the Mount Rushmore, which I guess right now we'd go Kirby Smart, Kurt Cignetti, Ryan Day, and then kind of take your pick for that fourth spot, which is where we would be talking about Mario Cristobal. I probably would put Steve Sarkisian in there because he has raised the floor to of Texas to being more consistent than Mario Cristobal has been at any point in his career. And like Sark hasn't accomplished anything at this point. So like let's be clear, Mario Cristobal is going to have an argument if he wins a national championship, but at the same time, I need to see what's next because there is so much built up scar tissue from what he's done previously.
I think that's totally fair. I'm on the other side of the coin. Du Hast 1S.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I don't fault you there. I think that's
No.
definitely a personal thing for me.
Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, who was occupying the fourth seat since Davos when he abdicated the throne?
I
Whatever
think
the
he
hell.
fell off. I don't even know if he abdicated.
He Humpty Dumpty and splattered all over Cade Klubnik's stupid forehead.
That's correct. Yes.
So you try to ask yourself, like Steve Sarkisian, who I figure you'd probably have up there. There's a lot of scar tissue there too.
Oh, 100%.
So, so I mean, like to each his own. I think that's probably the most compelling guy to put there. But I'm looking across the board. Maybe it's Marcus Freeman, but then it's like he's also got some Mario stuff with him too, Sark as
Mhm.
well. Then your next other coaches, Kalen DeBoer's kind of in that realm. I would
Yeah.
say Lane Kiffin's in that realm.
Hmm.
Dan Lanning, and then it gets really. Then you get down to like James Franklin, and
Yeah.
it gets really not good very quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's there's a college football coaching problem in that a lot of
Well,
guys just haven't figured it out.
yeah, Kyle Whittingham's a good one. I'll put him in there
I like
too.
that. Kyle Whittingham is a good one.
Chris Kleiman retiring doesn't help.
No, that leaves a vacancy. That's for sure.
I mean, then you're like sitting there thinking like, okay, is it Kalani Sitake? Is it Brent
It might
Key?
be Kalani Sitake. It might be. You want to talk about like delivering and consistency? Kalani Sitake has that.
Yeah, he does. He's got some crumble cookies.
Damn right he does. Crumble cookies and Pop Tarts. That's the fuel of a winning head coach.
You can take the fullback out of the man, but you can't take the fullback out of the man. I don't even know if I said that right. It's Kalani Sitake,
And you
whatever.
can't take the Pop Tarts out of the fullback.
I guess my argument is Mario is a lot closer to occupying that number four spot than we ever really imagined or
Mhm,
realized. Like it was and entering this past season, it was Kirby, it was Day, and it was Dabo. And then
mhm.
Dabo fell apart. Coach Sig rose up, and it's it could be Sark, it might be Sark. But if Mario wins this, I'm gonna put him up there. It's like the Coach O National Championship, although I think he's a better coach than Coach O.
He's definitely a better coach than Coach. And I do I want to be clear. Like I'm not trying if I'm not putting Mario on the Mount Rushmore, I'm probably putting him looking at Mount Rushmore, like at five or something like that. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say he's not a top 10 coach and not a top five coach in the sport. I just think that I'm looking up Sark's coaching record right now just so I can make sure I get the facts straight. But we're looking at three straight 10-win seasons at Texas. And he's certain I think he's grown as a head coach. When you talk about Mario, we're talking about two straight digit win seasons. But before that, Miami was middling his first 2 years there. At Oregon, it was always unmet expectations. He has this reputation that I don't think he's built on it the same way Sark has. And to this point, they've accomplished the same amount. Like you don't have a national championship to your credit when that's the expectation at the university that you're coaching at. So if he wins a national championship, maybe I will change my tune. Maybe I'll and it honestly depends on how that game goes because I also think that there is a realistic possibility where Indiana just boat races someone else again because that's what they've been friggin' doing this entire playoff.
That might very well that might happen. Not ruling that out. Let's move on to our penultimate topic here with some Big Ten energy. I want you to share this. This is your idea, and my screen's over here, and I can't read right now.
No, 100%. So, I came upon this stat which had me curious because we've obviously been pretty harsh on Oregon. And my question was, are we being too harsh on Oregon? Because the stat that was brought up by, let's see, Reddit user, not James Bond, but Jamie Bond, his lesser known cousin, I would suppose. Uh, it has been 1,161 days since Oregon has lost to a team that did not play for a national championship. And so essentially, it's been 3 years since Oregon's lost to a team that wasn't in the Natty. So, when you look at the teams that Oregon has lost to, you have Washington twice back in 2023. And then you have, I'm trying to remember who they lost to last year.
Ohio State last year, and
Ohio
then you
State
hit
last year and Indiana twice this year.
twice.
And so, to some degree, I hate the justification as a fan of well, at least we lost to the Series champion, or at least we lost to the eventual college football playoff national champion. I hate that argument. It feels copium to the max. But it does I do wonder if we are being too harsh on Oregon because they've lost to one of the two best teams in the country. And I want to get your thoughts on this because like I feel like we might have slightly differing opinions on this.
I think if you put another team in their situation, we would crucify them.
Hmm.
Like there's times like, oh, Georgia can't beat Alabama. Oh, Georgia loses to Ole Miss or Florida or whatever it is like that. It's like, you know what? If you want to be a champion, you're playing all these teams are conference foes. Beat them. Figure
Hmm.
it out.
Yeah.
And if you want to be champion among them, that's kind of my thing here. You know, you're not winning. I mean, you beat Penn State last year. Penn State's not anything close to what you are. It's I just think from like from the perspective of like you can't get over the hump in your respective league here, and the other
Hmm.
teams are coming out and winning championships. I think if you've been recruiting at a top five level, shouldn't you be able to knock them off at least once? I know we've kind of criticized James Franklin for that forever
Hmm.
and ultimately got the best of him. That's kind of my very loose argument here that doesn't really make an argument, but that's what I'm saying.
No, I fully like I agree with a lot of what you're saying, quite frankly. And like I think we are maybe being a little too harsh because I think that like if someone were to come in and not have watched all 200 and whatever episodes of False Start to hear how we talk about Oregon, they would probably think that we think Oregon is like not a top 10 program in the country, which
No.
is not the case. Like we understand what Oregon is. We understand the quality of Oregon. And so like I feel like the way we speak about them can probably come off as a little harsh sometimes, especially if someone is coming in new and fresh and not having listened
Yes.
to our nuanced opinions over the years, weeks, months, whatever. Having said that, I think the damning part when where this argument kind of falls apart as like, kind of like redeeming Oregon to some degree is you lost a rematch to Washington. And then you lost a rematch even worse to Indiana. And like
And oh, and you lost the rematch after you beat Ohio State too.
correct. So like I think it was Tom Fernelli for CBSSports.com who wrote something that said Dan Lanning has a rematch problem. And like I think that's where I come back to this is like that's where Oregon does deserve the criticism because to your point, they have all the talent in the world. They're recruiting at a top five level every single year. They're going to have a top five transfer portal class again because that's what they do. They supplement their roster with some of the best players in the transfer portal. It is the allure of Oregon. But it doesn't matter how talented you are if you can't get it done. And like there's something holding like there like as I said with the transfer portal quarterback stuff, like you there is something institutionally that needs to be changed, that needs to be tweaked. I think it's the quarterback position and how you're operating with that. Maybe it's something else, but there is clearly something going on in that building that is not working because yeah, like you can justify losing to Ohio State. You can justify losing to a very good, like maybe the best team in Washington history. You can justify losing to this Indiana team that looks like a freaking juggernaut twice. Like I understand all of these things. What I can't understand is the second game against Indiana looking non-competitive. The second game against Ohio State looking non-competitive. When you have the talent, that is something that you're not getting something, there's a message that's not getting through in the building.
That's a very good point. Probably better than what I said, and I'll say some more stuff because I can.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. And I don't think you made bad points at all.
I think I'm talking about it from like a tier perspective. Look, as much as we love this Indiana team, as much as we liked Ole Miss, and as much as like Miami, they're not of that grade of Oregon. They
No.
weren't that coming in. There is only probably about five or six other programs that are of that grade of Oregon entering this year. That would be Georgia, that would be Texas, Alabama, Ohio State. I would throw Notre Dame in there as
Mhm.
well. There may be another one that I'm missing on, but like,
I feel like there's like two or three that rotate in that spot right there. Like, Texas A&M has been there at times.
mhm.
Michigan's been there at times. Like it's kind of a rotating cast, but those are kind of like the six mainstays.
Like you're regularly recruiting in the top five out of high school. You're regularly winning 10 games a year. You're a fixture in the top 10 pretty much every year. In the 12 team format, it's a shock if you don't make the playoff.
Hmm.
Even if you have a bad year, you're gonna still win 9 games.
Hmm.
Like if you're of that ilk right now, like that's what we're saying. Like Oregon's built itself up to this point and we just want to see them punch it in. We think they have the right head coach to do it. They've got the right talent. And I know I go about the impressionable stuff there. It's just an attitude adjustment. They're so close. And I'm saying this because I lived through this. as a
Hmm.
Georgia alum. This was Georgia prior to 2021 the whole time. And just the butt of every joke. And I've been handled this every single way.
Yeah.
Texas is kind of there too. Like when you're at that level and you said there's nobody's going to repeat in college football playoff anymore, you got to take advantage and do
Hmm.
this.
Yeah, I mean, like with the variance that is here in the college football playoff, like you would think it would have to break Oregon's way one time, and then like it's the same story that we've seen over and over again, and like that's the frustrating part with Oregon, is like it doesn't feel like anything's changed. Like we we gave Oregon their flowers coming into this Indiana game. We gave Oregon a chance to, especially in a rematch, to keep it close because we respect the talent, we respect Dan Lanning. But like, man, it's just like if we really backed like if we wanted to be really cynical about it, we could have looked at that game very easily and said, what makes us think this is going to be different? Because this is the exact same situation where they piss down their leg every single time.
I'll finish on this. You'll love this. We probably did this on a show before we even had video. We talked about the NFL equivalent of college football teams.
Yeah.
Oregon is the Buffalo Bills,
Okay.
and Texas is the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. I see for Oregon, I was gonna go just a little self-flagellation. The Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, I'll hear that here too. But under Josh Allen, under Sean McDermott, the Bills have been competing at this level where like you should get to a Super Bowl. You should win. You've won MVP. You've had other things going for you. It's kind of like, if not now, when? Whereas Texas and Baltimore is like one of the best teams that didn't make the playoffs in both respective
Hmm.
sports. They won a championship a long time ago. They think that they're back. They've got the right pieces. They got the right quarterback, but for whatever reason, they can't get it done. They have great infrastructure. There's some people who've been questionable about the head coach and everything like that. You're close, but you still can't find your car keys in your pocket and you're
Hell
getting
yeah.
rained on.
Absolutely. We should run this back. Because
Yeah,
obviously like these things are fluid and we've been doing this show for quite a while at this point. Maybe like Super Bowl week, that'd be a good way to like preview the Super Bowl as the college football equivalent of all 32 NFL teams and just
that
go
sounds
through it.
that sounds fantastic. But it's just like we hold Oregon to such a high standard because we've been told that they belong to this high standard, and they've shown that they can do it.
Hmm.
It's frustrating when it's like at the beginning of the year, they were just beating the tar out of teams. Turns out those teams were terrible, but we know what Oregon's capable of. We know Oregon can mush people. This isn't just some finesse team. They've got some grit. I don't think their defensive line or offensive line cost in this game versus Indiana. I
No.
feel like they struggled outside the numbers in a quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. It like Indiana didn't put up like ridiculous offensive numbers. Like they ran the ball well, sure, but like they didn't run it at like a 8 yard a carry clip. I think it was like a 5 yard a carry clip. Like we're not talking about like, and yet you still got utterly dominated. And like again, I keep coming back like that's something cultural, that's something institutional. That's not the dudes on the field.
No,
Because you have the dudes on the field to win a national championship.
no, no. That's the worst part of it all too. When you get that close, you just can't quite get it, and it gets in your head. And I think we've
Mhm.
kind of gotten there with Oregon. And there's other teams out there that are occupying the space. I think it's gotten in Notre Dame's head too.
Oh, 100%. Notre Dame's in Notre Dame's head worse than anyone else.
No. I don't want to be here anymore.
I don't want to be around anymore.
Let's get out here with some 4 for 4.
Yes, sir.
I came up with this idea while I was watching Oregon and Indiana play, and it was late. But initially, it was going to be like one team in each Power Four league that we feel the most confident will make the playoff in 2026. But that wasn't originally what I wanted to do. I wanted to do like which team that did not make it that we feel the most confident will. And then Cody's like, "Porque no las dos."
My favorite phrase in any language.
It's so good. Um, Case to say is mine. Whatever it will be, I guess.
That's right, baby.
All right, let's move on. Let's start. ACC. What team are you the most confident will make the playoff next year?
As I've already spoiled, Miami.
Yeah,
They might be the only good team in the ACC, quite frankly.
that wouldn't shock me even remotely in the slightest. I also had Miami as well. Um, Arizona State podcast. They have to live it down. We get sushi afterwards, but
Hey, when you want sushi, you know, there's no talking anyone down.
there's
I
no
get it.
talking to you. I'll say this with Miami, they just recruited at a very high level out of high school. There's a blue collar ethos. It's basically what's made the UU, whether that, you have Michael Irvin playing there, Ray Lewis. And if you get people from like out of the country, like Vinny Testaverde and like Greg
Mhm.
Olson, they all buy in.
Mhm.
There's something that they have there in their blood at Miami when it's going that works. And I think unless Florida State has their stuff together or Clemson's been what they were, I don't know if anybody can really catch them in the ACC.
I don't either. They like to the Mario Cristobal point, like this is the only program right now in the ACC that is operating as it should. And like,
Yeah,
again, like they've been operating like this for a couple years now, but like this is the first time they're taking full advantage of it. And so like that's where my trepidation towards Mario Cristobal comes from. But at the same time, when no other program in the conference is really operating at peak capacity, like you have to choose the one that is.
that's perfect. So if it's not Miami, who are you winning? This is such a hard exercise. Mine's gonna blow your mind.
I threw a dart at the board and landed on NC State.
Let's go.
Not that that brings me any joy, obviously.
No,
Brings my household some level of joy. She probably wouldn't know it happened if it did, but regardless, I mean, you're bringing CJ Bailey back, which I think is a really big deal. I think he's a very damn good player, and like, I also think that Dave Doran is just a good head coach, man. And like, NC State might not be running at peak efficiency right now, but they also like they're not cratering out. They're not recovering from, Bill Belichick year one. They're not recovering from Mike Norvell era. They're not recovering from losing a Buster Faulkner and Haynes King at Georgia Tech. Like when you look around the conference, I think NC State has the right mix of coach and stability to be the one that would pop up.
I was very close to picking NC State. I had a feeling you might, which is why I didn't pick them. But the reason I didn't have them is like they're the Mizzou of the ACC. You
Yeah.
can't trust them.
No, I get it. As someone who picked NC State to win the ACC in 2024 and then they just absolutely shit the bed. Yeah, I'm
That's what
aware.
they. And I got a team here that's gonna blow your mind. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. This is gonna blow up my face so bad. I'm gonna go Wake Forest.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go.
I don't care that Damon Claiborne's going to the NFL. I think they've got the right combination of you're the perfect crossroads of people coming in from Pullman with Jake Dickert who want to
Mhm.
be there, who want to play Power Four football so bad. Because again, they had a year where they were left in college football no man's land to effing die.
Yeah, and they still fought their asses off too.
Yeah, they come in to Wake Forest and they play very well. They won the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and when you get the Mayo, the next year it's really good. We saw it happen with Maryland. We saw it happen with South Carolina. We also know when he rejected, that's what happened to Paul Christ. Notre Dame, I think, won one at some point. Like it's a good thing.
Hmm.
Also, Jake Dickert, like Michigan State probably feels really stupid to not hire him over
Yeah,
Jonathan
100%.
Smith.
100%.
So you've got people coming in from Washington State who really want this. You also have the holdovers of people who came and bought into what Dave Clawson was doing. It's like we're going to redshirt you no matter what. We're going to be old, and when you're old, you can win because that's what they're doing in Indiana. I
Hmm.
looked at Wake Forest's schedule. They got some games on there, like Cal. I think will be decent. Louisville, a couple of other ones. Like if they go like 9-3, 10-2, they could play in Charlotte. They could be this year's Virginia.
100%. Absolutely. I mean, and it's we neither of us mentioned Virginia, which I think is interesting. Like Virginia potentially could fit into this mold as well. Losing Chandler Morris obviously not an easy thing to contend with, but yeah, I mean, once you get past Miami, man, the ACC is just wide open. I mean,
I
I know it's not North Carolina. That's my answer.
It could be the other school. It could be Duke too.
Yeah.
But like somewhere near where you're from that you don't want to go there. That's okay. That's all right. Big Ten. Which team are you the most confident will make the playoff next year?
I This was the hardest one for me to talk about like which team I'm most confident in. I ended up landing on Ohio State. I think the floor is just too high. Like I
I,
think yeah.
as did I. Like Florida, no, not Florida. Ohio State and Georgia, the floor is too high for them not to make it in this format. Like
Yeah.
Ohio State's the only program that's never been bad once, except for the one Luke Fickle year. And again, there's a non-zero chance Indiana gets the disease and may infected, and they go 9-3 and don't make it in.
Yeah, I
And
mean, and there's also the chance that like I mean, Indiana like pulling back and going 10-2, like that could potentially not guarantee them a playoff spot. And so like
yeah,
yeah, I don't like I see more worlds where Indiana goes 10-2 than I do Ohio State.
And even though Ohio State's got to replace Brian Hartline, that was kind of a downgrade at coordinator anyway. That
Hmm.
team was pretty green.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
outside of like Caleb Downs, a lot of what made you really good was coming back next year.
Hmm.
Julian Sand, Jeremiah Smith.
Offensive line's young. Like that was their
Yeah,
biggest issue is that was just a really young group.
they'll also come in there with also everybody handles failure the same way. They're going to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. They'll probably go 11-1 next year and be a top four seed again.
No, 100%. And like one thing, I'll definitely give Ryan Day credit for this. Like I think he coaches well through failure.
Hmm.
Like after they lost the Michigan game last year, like that team played with a chip on its shoulder and I like bring the key contributors that they are back for next season. I think he's probably going to do the same.
Yes, I feel you right there. Team in the Big Ten that'll make it that didn't make it last year. Make it next year, they didn't make it this year.
Uh, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're not going to fool me again, except you are because I'm going with the USC Trojans.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was setting ourselves up for immense heartbreak here, but like I think they're trending in the right direction. I think Lincoln Riley has learned something since yesterday. Like he's learned something since breakfast.
They can always run the ball aggressively. Jade Mayav at quarterback gives them a gritty edge. Even though he played initially at UNLV, he played at UNLV before they were UNLV. Like
Right.
I don't know if D'Anton Lynn's still on your staff, but that helps as well. They're starting to get back to what makes USC like good.
Hmm.
They're not being impressionable anymore. They're basically changing oil under a car. They don't care if they got oil stains on their shirt. They're getting some sushi tonight.
No, 100%. And like, we didn't mention him in the transfer portal, but Houston Longstreet, their former
Yes,
five-star recruit, is now in the transfer portal. And I think it's very telling that the USC fan base's reaction was kind of like, all right, it wasn't like the sky is falling, the world's ending. No, it was just okay, next man up, let's go. And like
yeah.
they didn't give a damn about it. And like that's a healthy USC fan base. That's a USC fan base that knows that what they have and what they're building is more important than a five star. It's not they're not banking on hope anymore. They're banking on what is here.
Let me put it to you this way: if the Big Ten gets four teams into the playoff next year, I'm pretty confident USC is one of the four.
Agreed, 100%.
All right, and let's look at what would be the Big 12. This one's wild. I'm pretty confident Texas Tech's going to be back.
Yeah, I am as well. I don't like I to me, and this is a very cynical way of looking at this, but I think it's the right way to look at it. No team in the Big 12 is putting forth the resources that Texas Tech is. And that's just
No.
really as simple as it comes down to. Like they're getting talent that no one else in the Big 12 is.
They have taken full advantage of the power void left at the top of the conference with the Texas and Oklahoma exodus.
Mhm.
Cody Campbell is just drilling, man. They're getting people from all over the place.
Drill,
Te
baby, drill.
mm, they're going to go like 11-1 again next year and be a top six seed.
Yeah, 100%. And they'll have a quarterback, so maybe they can actually function in the playoff.
They just might be. I don't think they lost any coordinator. Also, there'll be another year where I guess they still retain Mac Leftwich because they
Hmm.
had to deal with losing a Zach Kitley to FAU. So
Yeah.
that's something that kind of Shieldwood's still there. Yeah, Texas Tech feel pretty confident they're going to get in.
Yeah, honestly, I might have been even more confident in Texas Tech than Miami. Just
Yeah,
because like I trust Texas Tech and what they're doing a little more than I do Miami. Slightly. It's very slight margins there.
that's and as far as if they get another team in there, I think it might be Houston.
Houston. Okay. That's interesting. I'll give you mine after you explain Houston a little bit.
I think Willie Fritz like has got a good pulse of what's going on there. He kind of strikes me as like a Kyle Whittingham guy, where he's like,
Mhm.
he's too good to not have a team in the playoff. He would have made it previous years. And again, I don't know if Connor Wegman or whoever the quarterback is. I just think they've got a pretty strong sense of who they are. Again, you've got the Tillman for Tito Money if you want it. I think you could keep pace with Cody Campbell if you really wanted to. But like I almost went Arizona State was my other team here, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of moving pieces. I think that Kenny Dillingham getting courted by Michigan doesn't help. I like BYU a lot too, but then again, like BYU, when you really try to trust them, not so much. I mean, there may be another team I'm overlooking here, but I think Houston could be steady and they could win the Big 12 at like 10-2 and get in. It's like Arizona State 2 years ago.
I don't hate it, man. I was very impressed with what Houston did in 2025. I think Willie Fritz is arriving a little bit earlier than maybe even Fritz expected, quite frankly. I went with Utah, a team you did not mention, and I understand you're losing Kyle Whittingham, but again, I've praised the transition process that they had in place at Utah. I think that Morgan Scalley is like ready to do this, and like they're. I don't think Utah's going to miss a beat on the coaching front. Devin Dampier might be the best player in the Big 12. Like that's really what it comes down to me.
Yeah, him and Sorsby are going to be electric.
Yeah, I can't and like I just think that I think Utah left too much. I think Utah simply left too much meat on the bone this year. They could have been a playoff team this year. Like I think they were a better team than BYU. They just happened to lose the Holy War, and so that obviously put them behind the eight ball.
The only reason I don't have Utah here is coaching. I
Yeah,
haven't
and
I don't know what Morgan Scalley is yet. I'm bullish on him, but I don't know.
yeah, it's definitely I'm putting my neck out there to support the way the transition was handled because I think it's going to be a very seamless one.
I think that's fair. I think maybe our SEC is in the same two buckets. I don't think we really have to think too much about this. This is
I
the
think we
easiest
have the same two teams, most likely.
most confident to make it's Georgia, and the new one to make it is Texas. These are both
Correct.
locks to make the playoff next year without question.
Yeah, I mean, I would have actually really liked to see what Texas could have done in this playoff because like outside of Indiana, this playoff does feel pretty wide open in the way things and results have transpired. There weren't many teams at the end of the season who were playing better than Texas,
No.
and they're not losing a whole hell of a lot. And Arch Manning is going only going to get better.
You upgrade over Kwiatkowski with Boone Muschamp coming in, so
Mhm.
hopefully your defense is good. A lot of pressure on Arch. I think he can handle it. A lot of pressure on Sark. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. That Sark is the great mitigating factor in this.
As far as Georgia's concerned, like you got Gunner back another year, man. You got
Yeah.
like Ellis Robinson, KJ Bolden, hopefully Nate Frazier. London Humphreys is really coming on. You've got a lot of other pieces out there. Raylan Wilson's really figuring out at linebacker.
There's no guarantee that even like I mean, I it's kind of he's kind of in the gray area where I could see him making more money in NIL. Like Zachariah Branch could come back to Georgia.
I mean, he did declare, but like he could come back if he wanted to.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't know he
Uh,
declared. I apologize.
Monroe Freeling, I don't know if he's declared yet either, but like
Yeah,
that's the other one. Um, Georgia and Ohio State's kind of one of the same. Like the floor is just way too high.
yeah, 100%.
I heard that.
Jesus, I don't know what's going on out
Is
there.
that a frog bug thing?
That was Remus.
And on that note, this was episode 242 of False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter at the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at LeSizzle20. You can follow the show at CFP False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. Every time I see you put the hand up, I'm just saying words until I get to this point, man. It's
I know you'll get there eventually.
we all get there eventually sometimes here. I don't know if Oregon was. We're hoping they do, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens.
Oh man. Dan, like a Dan Lanning thought.
Oh, I was lost in the rib tat.
We were somewhere near Barstow and the drugs kicked in while getting that rib tat because this is false start.